Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Reus 2, where today we have to build up a great big box of toys and then burn the whole thing to the ground. So we're going to end up with, first we're going to build a city with 35 science and 50 military strength, and then by the end we have to end up with a planetary prosperity of 600, a planetary military strength of 250. And it probably would be a little bit easier to get there if we didn't have two pacifist spirits as our leaders. But, I mean, most of your... Well, I was going to say most of your military strength is going to come from threat anyway, but actually that's probably not true, as the values keep... Oh, interesting. Losing wars actually affects your military strength in the long term. That is a thing I did not realize. 10 from losing wars and getting tough. Okay. That's kind of cool that losing wars makes you better at fighting them. Like it's almost like it is as though failure were somehow instructive. If it allowed you to improve yourself in some way. Weird. What a concept. Anyway, so this first bit, the poet is way ahead of everybody else on science right now. We have 26 tech right now here, as opposed to 10 tech in Woodgate and 5 tech in Dune Sands City, which, if we're honest, is really more of a Dune Sands village still. However, we do know that our forest biome has a whole lot of high science unlocks in its future, and I'm wondering if we will find it easier to push science here. I guess they're not even all that great, though, are they? That's just a lot of mystery. And this has science on it, but just, yeah, you know what? The paper mulberry is good, but it's not going to win a science thing all by itself, and dude wants to focus on food anyway. Okay, you know what? The science city is going to be this one. All right, speaking of this one, we've got him on 3 sets of things. Let's try to push him up 22 more prosperity. As things stand right now, he's very animal focused. He's got enough animals to max out the Temple of Zhenghua, and it is time to pick our move for the season, our move for the age. So 40 mystery for each set of plant, mineral, and animal within borders obviously is pretty good. Right now, the mystery yield is 3 food, 5 science. So that's 200 science and 120 gold per set, which obviously is pretty great. In theory, Apothecary would be able to push your science harder, but not that much harder. And I don't know if we have, like, what is our current count of medicinal biotica? I think we're probably building an opera here. Our current count of medicinal biotica looks real low. We do have a couple of draft charges, so it's not all about, yeah, geez. Desert is level 2 already too. Yeah, okay. It's got to be opera. It's got to be opera. Welcome to the opera. Plus, we're trying to boost his overall prosperity, right? Mystery is a better booster of overall prosperity than raw science is. I'm curious how far that's going to take him. Is that sufficient? It actually is, it looks like. Alright, so we don't need to spend any Eon on him right now. Oh, except, yeah, the problem with matching a tinderbox is not the tech, it's the military strength. Right, I need to place threat objects. Okay, get some adorable little prosperity creatures. Yeah, no, I need to place threat objects. Okay, let's draft some stuff. So first of all, desert. It's been a minute. We are not doing enough drafting in the desert. Let's pick some things what have threat on them. And obviously it would be cool if they were not all animals, because, you know, he does need to put other things down. But This falcon looks like a winner. It's worth a lot of extra money based on the resources that are in animals within the biome, because obviously, you know, it feasts. It does not love having a lot of plants. It loses 25% of its... Yeah, this falcon's kind of a weird fit for him. It comes along with the desert tortoise and the carnelian. The jackal has threat, but other than that, I don't actually think that's a very good set. This is an extremely adorable rat. Methane has threat. Counts as an empty slot. Gets extra science for plants nearby. We do still also need to be thinking about just raw resource outputs, obviously. But overall, I'm not too excited about these. I think let's take a reroll. Let's see if we can find something that's a little bit more skull and crossbonesy. And the answer is not really at the moment. Now, the other thing to consider, obviously, is the other person in the desert. So actually, maybe we should hold off on that until we get her fourth quest, so that we know what our options are. She's gonna want some money making. She's gonna want some food. Let's see what you're up to. Fruit or raw plants? Fruit would be a fruit strategy would be better, but I also think a fruit strategy is going to be hard to pursue, given the stuff we've started with. Cause well, okay, the Chinese jujube is a fruit tree. The paper mulberry is not. The marula is. And this wants us to play with fruit as well. All fruit get extra stuff for each distinct adjacent bioticum type. See, that's really interesting because it's a fruit tree that wants you to have lots of other fruit trees, or wants you to have lots of other fruit plants, but it doesn't want you to be deeply in on plants too much because you have to be making sets for their adjacencies. That's kind of a neat one. We have to get to 6 total fruit biotica to max this out, which is harsh. I think I'm going to take Cake Baker. I think we're going to try to make it work. It sounds to me like it's probably going to require a lot of space. And then obviously our plants over here, we do have some fruit stuff. The monkey orange is pretty good. This okra, honestly, probably we just want this okra to become a monkey orange, right? Is there any particular reason that I need a tin here? Well, the monkey orange will generate a little bit of extra stuff for being adjacent to a mineral. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go ahead and replace the okra. Oh, except that that's a level 1 space. So it is. Well, we could level these spaces up. Actually, does the jujube affect... Okay, it just affects the fruits in that biome. Sorry, it's not the whole city. So we want to... These fruits, we want to just play them by their rules. So you want to be next to an animal. You want to be next to lots of animals. Okay. Working on this a little bit. I don't know exactly what the trigger is for the next city request to come down, but it seems like just continuing to build prosperity usually does it, right? So if we're going to throw down... Do we have some like level 2 animals or something that I want to play? We still have a warthog that hasn't been played. It could be we could upgrade these, warthog this space for the mineral bonus, and then tuck the monkey orange in up here. And plus that's increasing biodiversity even more, which makes life a little bit better for what do you call it? Makes life a little bit better for the poet city because he'll have more biodiversity to work for when placing his own apex biotica. And we'll get to 35 tech. Somehow. Alright, show me some boosters. Cool boosters. Plant booster. Rad. Actually, very, very good. Thank you. Happy to see this monkey orange. You get over here and give me a... Oh, that's it. Sometimes it hitches a little bit when I go to click on things, and then it decides to have very different opinions than I was expecting. Oh, wait a minute. Was that... That was the tier 3 building for them. I had never chosen their tier 3 building. So okay, on top of that, tier 4 building, obviously not a sushi bar. 100 food for each distinct bioticum within borders that has a base food yield, or 1 food for each food in the fruit. Or 1 food for each... Sorry, 1 food for each food within fruit biotica. So the question is, like, do I think I'm going to have a particular fruit bioticum that just goes really big? Well, I mean, once we put down our Chinese jujube, the fruits on this side are gonna get pretty huge, especially the Chinese jujube itself with the forest park. I think it... I guess there's not really a good reason to press a button just yet, but I think my guess is Jam Maker is going to end up being the winner here over Cafe. Let's see if we can work that out. So I need to get to... In addition, I need to put down 3 more fruits still. Okay. Well, we're probably actually going to lose some of these, like... I doubt I'm going to maintain both these blueberries. So we might be making some changes on that front as well. If we were going to try to max out the degree to which our fruits have access to all 3 other biotica types. But yeah, what do we do there? If this becomes an animal, then another, like, yeah, if this becomes an animal and this becomes a plant, then this plant has animal and plant, so we just need another mineral there, and both of these plants would have access to all of their types. The dove tree is going to be helpful in getting a bunch of stuff out. Okay, yeah, I think I'm going to just throw down an upgrade charge over top of these. Bring me friends, because I do not yet know what we are doing. Okay. The super booster makes me want to put the jujube right there, obviously. Okay, now both of these need an animal to max out their harmony boost. We do have a dove somewhere on the planet already. We could place a squirrel here. This is a really weird use of a tier 3 slot. Okay, the Huntress's thing is up. Now we'll come back to him in a second. But I want to make the Huntress choice so that we know what we're looking for at this draft. We have access to some gems and some elements and lots of things. Not a lot of threats, sadly. Okay, 3 to 4 distinct predator biotica will get us potentially 600 gold. We can get 1 food for each food in the single animal in borders with the highest food. That might be huge, maybe. We need food more than we need wealth. Considerably more than we need wealth. Yeah, so I kind of think we're taking Steak Restaurant and just hoping to get a 3-star that will really blow the doors off. Okay, and with that information, I think we're going to go ahead and use our last reroll here, because I don't know that any of this stuff really fits what either of them are looking for. Okay, here we go. This is a little bit more compelling. The cheetah has 4 threat, doesn't have a way of gaining threat, unfortunately. Or introducing more threat to the environment via its... unlocks. Oh, the rattlesnake is good. Gila monster has a little bit. The Energite has a little bit. Dysprosium adds a ton of resources via metals, but again, it's the very high amount of threat that has to be generated that I am mostly concerned about right now. Also, remember, we want an animal that's going to generate a lot of food for her, not an animal that's going to generate a lot of minerals or a lot of money. So I might honestly take the dysprosium. The dysprosium itself doesn't have any threat, but the basalt and the iron and the energite do. The iron is available in all biomes, so we can add some threat kind of all over the planet. And it probably helps us play a little bit better with his opera, since we already have so many animals. We kind of don't want to be placing more animals for him. But if I'm honest, I don't love any of it. Like none of it's like totally mind-blowing. Yeah, all right. Dysprosium it is. All right, so we'll add some minerals to his town, and that mostly what that does is it unblocks my other drafts. Now we can make the rest of the drafts happen. Let's take a Savannah draft. Again, here we're mostly looking for threat. Okay, elephant and leopard is kind of interesting. We do not here have a choice of like threat minerals. It's just these. So extra threat for each herbivore in the biome. You like to be adjacent to prey biotica, but it doesn't actually affect your threat output. So yeah, African elephant seems good. Less desert draft. Okay, that's interesting. The dromedary camel has a scalable threat value based on the number of apparently empty slots and produces a lot of food. Also, is adorable. Is drawn in a way that is adorable, and I have a hard time turning that down. Okay, so now we know a little bit more about where we're headed in the future. Let's try to finish off Woodgate, because she advanced her request more recently. I want to try to avoid him getting too angry at us. So we did this. I didn't take my last forest draft, which means that we don't have a new animal to offer up here. I am going to just put down a squirrel, I guess. So this will fire the Harmony Spirit off of both of the plants here. So right now, the cafe would be 800 food, and the gem maker would also be 800 food. I think we're probably going to trade out, like, this rabbit here, actually, is generating food via the monkey orange, but it has a set of the 3 types next to it, so if it were a fruit tree instead, it would be doing some good. And this could be a marula. Yeah, this could be a marula. It would be pretty good for us if it were a different kind of thing that it is. I think marula works. Well, hold on. What's the mineral that we're going to put down? You want to be adjacent to at least 2 trees. That's really awkward, because this is definitely what I would like to put down. I guess it can just be an iron, though. We can just generate threat. Yeah, nothing else generates as much. Okay, that's fine. Because unfortunately we can't place the, we couldn't place the other thing such that it would be adjacent to 2 trees without screwing up the positioning for the harmony bonus. there's our harmony bonus. So we're doing all right here. Getting our cake baker up. Yeah, gem maker is scaling ahead. I'm gonna lock in gem maker, which I think may finish the challenge. It's certainly in the right area. Yeah, that is a lot of bonus food. It looks to me like it's not quite going to get us there by itself. No, never mind. Never mind. It is just barely. Okay, cool. Bustling Metropolis locked in. Weirdly, that means we're drafting our last forest draft right after he finishes, but the forest draft is still relevant for the Huntress. And also, you know, you never run out of need for threat on this challenge. So, coal gives us some interesting options. 75 plus 2 threat for each legacy plant in the biome. That's pretty scalable. Scalar? Scalar is the word I wanted. So Nightshade just gives 3 threat. Not by itself really able to scale up any higher. The fossil fuel does a little bit better, and it gives us the ginkgo tree, which is a tree and also potentially a really good resource output itself, and also helps us get, you know, the biodiversity necessary to play the coal. Yeah, I think we'll take that. All right. So, finishing Huntress City and finishing pushing the nuclear war thing are our next roles. And I think I want to get Huntress City down first because of the discomfort. Not discomfort, but you know what I mean. I don't want her to get mad and lose her love of the Savannah Giant. So, she has some pretty weak stuff. I didn't realize she had a Marula already. This is a non-unique, it's a non-biodiversity producing Marula. Whatever, it's fine. It'll be fine. We need animals. We need threat. And we need to place... Oops. We need to place a pretty good dromedary camel somewhere. I suppose the dromedary camel really can go over here. It's not really super important where it lands. You just want there to be a military biotica somewhere. Yeah, this thing over here. So, like, I am inclined to just put something else down here, because this 10 gold output obviously could be better. Like, what is... We can get 20 food... We could play a dove. A dove at this point has 17 food and 17 science on it. That might be the best thing we can do with a single slot. We could retire some threat, though. And I know this doesn't build toward any of her particular needs, but it does feel like building in some threat's probably a good idea. And we get benefit from extra iron in the same biome. We don't really have a place to put down iron. I guess this doesn't need to be a quartz, especially since we have another quartz. This doesn't need to be a quartz either, and in fact, it should be something with the Baron tag. I'm just trying to figure out if I think it's worth laying down another iron to get maximum abundancy before we retire it, but I think the answer is no. All right, let's pull these up. Show me animal booster. Something good? Plant booster. Okay. Well, we don't really have a thing here. We don't want to place an olive tree on that. So Each distinct bioticum that has a base gold yield. Each empty slot, you really don't care where you go. You just want there to be other herbivores. Okay. The dromedary camel itself is barren. So actually, maybe we want to just upgrade over these slots. And then we place the camel over here, and it helps out the ostrich. Yeah, we can figure out what to do on the other side later. Because obviously the ostrich would love it if that slot were empty. Keep in mind, we haven't really done very much in the way of expanding the planet yet. We certainly can add a lot of space to the cities and to the biomes by doing so. Okay, well, it's pretty hard not to want to place the camel there. So that makes me want to put a different barren critter on that thing. Let's run back over here, drop our oryx there. You just want to be adjacent to an animal, although I suppose you are. Generate ourselves a little bit more biodiversity so that I can throw down this dromedary camel. And the total war age pushed the poet to attack the sage for more power. I am actually going to let this happen. Yeah, we definitely want that to happen. So Dune Sand City is going to be producing, wow, yeah, a lot of food. And keep in mind, these single large payout things are getting that inspired projects bonus, and it's just fantastic. We have to get back up to having enough animals within borders, but I'm not worried about that. We're going to get there. And this should be a pretty easy win, I think. Well, you know, it's closer than I was expecting, but it should be a win, and we want a win here. They're going to try to steal some tech, which is fine. Okay, yeah, let's keep working on this. So we need a little bit more money, and we could just put a sandcat down. It's not awesome. We definitely can't afford a second fennec. We have to remember that all predators in this biome are getting doubled up on their payouts. I mean, technically the best thing to put down money-wise would be another ostrich. Especially since... but the ostrich itself is not barren. It's still like losing this thing, 8 point of barren, and then playing another 3 point ostrich next to it is still for sure the best play, given how bad our predator coverage is. Right, because it'll mean losing 10 food and 5 gold on the other one. And then we'll have 40 food and 25 gold on this one. I don't think we're going to get any other animal up to 65 yield, right? It would be nice to play the fennec, but it's not happening. The poet gained 9 tech. Wow. Yeah, I'm going to put down this animal. That's going to push us over on Huntress City there, and it's also going to generate us some decent gold. And then we got to just make a little bit more wealth. My options for wealth generation over in the forest part of this thing are not super awesome, right? You want to be near biotica that have base gold yields. Yeah, we don't have amazing gold stuff available. You'd like to be next to a critter. And that, I mean, that's 25 gold and some threat. Honestly, that might be the best value we can get for a tier 1 slot. Obviously, we're going to lay down some stuff here and then do an upgrade so that we can place the better metals. And to be perfectly honest with you, I think it's probably just a pair of stoats. And then upgrades. Okay, a plant booster is interesting. So you want to be adjacent to 2 things that have a base gold yield. Let's put you down here. We don't have any plants that have base gold yield, I don't think. Oh, hey, we got a temple. That's actually really rad. In fact, we got a couple of temples. And this temple was damn near completed already. Yeah, okay. Well, we should build one more animal within borders for them. But we probably ought to put down a plant here. And I am thinking we don't yet have a dove tree. Dove tree gives 25 mystery, which is not super awesome for this city, I guess. The other thing we could put down is a ginkgo, which is adjacent to 3 different bioticum types, so we're getting all that sweet biodiversity. It's not going to get a huge payout on ancient roots, but you know, it's not nothing. I was thinking then, you know, we have two things with base gold yields to this side of it. Yeah, because I can't produce a plant that has a base gold yield. All right, well, let's go dove tree. I guess this thing doesn't boost mystery. So hold on. And the ginkgo does have threat. Yeah, let's place the ginkgo, actually. Because the booster won't apply to the dove tree's very cool outputs. And we're continuing to produce plants. Yeah, we're continuing to produce plants. Okay, so I just need gold on this side. We can get 10 gold from that. $20 gold here. Yeah, it's not awesome. The stoat produces decent gold, but I'd have to also put down an animal to feed it, which we don't. I just don't really want to spend the effort. And who knows? They might build over here, and do I want to make coal happen? Seems like a lot of effort. We can come back and do it later if we want. Right now, I might just put down. I guess Mossagate is the only thing I have that has a base gold yield. Even the sandstone, it's not base, I don't think. So yeah, all right. This one's not even turned on all the way, but it gets us the rest of the feldspar money. No, sorry, distinct basic biotica. Shoot. Poet sent out to steal stuff. Yeah, that's fine. Well, then I guess we actually have to use an animal. You know what? Let me see something here. When it says base gold yield, what does it mean? Is it part of the gold yield if it's part of a triggered ability, or is it part of the base yield if it's part of a triggered ability? No. Okay, that's what I figured. But I thought it could, the use of base could be to differentiate it from like resources that are on there only because they're from a legacy slot or something. So if we're putting down a gold yielding creature, the only thing actually is the stoat. Our forest is very weirdly skewed. Okay, so that turns Glassmaker the rest of the way on. That also gets us the 8th animal for the Temple of Zhanghua, so that's good anyway. That's not quite going to get us to 25. It's really close. It's really, really close. You gain... Yeah, placing a plant in this empty slot is not going to help the dromedary camel. We don't have great plans for this anyway. But that is a level 3 slot. We don't have to put an animal down. We could put down Dysprosium. That's not gold generating. Oh. Huh. I don't know where the extra money came from, but okay. I guess we're done with that. We're going to use the draft charge on whatever we decide our next biome is. And let's dig in on this thing. The poet's raid fails. The sage forgives them. What a sweetheart. But actually that's good for us, right? Because losing wars gains you threat. So we just have to generate a shit ton more. So we have 10 military power from threat from biotica. Is that 1 point per threat in the biotica? 1, 2, 2, 4, 1. Yes. Okay. So we need to gain threat biotica in this situation. And obviously it would be cool if the camel were on the other side, but in the end, the planet's total threat value has to be so high that it doesn't really matter. I'm kind of thinking that maybe what we need to do is produce a new biome here. Like, use an extender to add 2 tiles within this city. How interested are you in expansion? That's 4 minuses, right? We don't really need more land in this era. Actually, okay. So if we put down... Well, I don't want to expand at the edge, though. What I'm thinking is, like, we might be able to get them to expand naturally into territory and thus get a larger number of patches out of our expander. If we put down a new, if we did an expander here, gained 4 uncityed patches, then built a new biome there. But any place where we do that, we're splitting up an existing biome because of the way I laid the cities out, and I don't think I actually want to do that. I think we want to maintain the integrity of our biomes. But if we do a splitter right here, we can make 2 patches of something new and then do a splitter between them and end up with more. So... Taiga versus rainforest. I guess the question is, which one of these do I think is going to give us access to more threat? This feels really hard. These new ones feel really hard. Maybe I need to come at these not in Horizon draft mode. Like the giant challenge with the Horizon draft rules and everything is not a trivially easy way to play, to be clear. Obviously we cannot always expect success when doing it. So I want to go to the encyclopedia then. We want to go to our collection. We want to look at our biotica. We want to sort them by things that have threat. And just eyeball here real quick. We have potentially a taiga or a rainforest. It looks immediately to me like rainforest is the winner at this lower level, right? We have a number of minerals, but that could have 1 threat on it. Yeah, a lot of these rainforest things are a single threat. The taiga stuff, I guess, is not looking much better. Yeah, stoats, we already know about stoats. Stone has 1 point. Tin has 1 point. We do have, I suppose it is worth noting that we do have a lot of this stuff unlocked already. Okay, what about things that give more threat? Because obviously there's raw prosperity scaling, and that's all well and good, and that is a thing we're going to be relying on. But also, threat introduction does matter. So the Arctic wolf has 4. What I'd like to see is more things that have ways of scaling their threat. I suspect we're mostly going to see that as elements of. We're mostly going to see that as elements of 3 stars, 3-star biotica. So yeah, we can get a little bit more threat up here. The Kentucky coffee tree. Weird that it's called a Kentucky coffee tree when its biomes are rainforest and taiga, neither of which are very common in Kentucky. I don't know if you've ever been. The cougar's got 4 and is available in both I do see a lot more rainforest stuff at this tier. Well, I guess there's a whole big line of taiga animals, isn't there? Yeah, this fella is scaling for just points of ruggedness. That's actually really good. It is not that difficult to generate like 20 plus ruggedness. Well, it's not that difficult to generate 20 plus ruggedness in a full-sized. The Siberian tiger just has 20 threat on him. That feels like a winner. That feels like it's going to be really hard to pass up. Just natural big taiga. +1 threat for each mineral on the planet is really rad. Yeah. But 2 threat and 2 rugged for each mineral in this biome is also really rad. I think it's gotta be a taiga. So let's do the thing. Let's spend a lot of resources forcing a taiga onto this planet. So we're gonna need one of those. I'm not calling a nomad charge. We can buy our drafts instead of earning them from projects. We could also build a second taiga somewhere. Right, at a city breach. I don't know. We could do a separation here. After this thing where we get the 1 city to 50, all of our goals after that are... No, that's 2 cities with 50. Oh, friends, this is challenging. Wow, they got to 63. They climbed up real fast. Okay, so hold on. Maybe before we engage in the thing that we're about to do, we're still gonna have to do that thing. But well, let's push on science here a little bit. We can definitely push science up in this city thanks to our thanks to its connection to our forest. And also, like, we did pull dysprosium, right? So each distinct element bioticum in this biome, the whole biome, this is itself barren, so it leaves the slot effectively open. Yeah, and all metals on the planet get super high and... Let's do it. Let's lay down some dysprosium. Never mind. Dysprosium does require a very large biodiversity value. Is there anything we can do about that? I mean, we can replace this ostrich. Yeah, this ostrich is a drain that I thought we could afford because of factors, but which we, I think, can no longer afford. So I might want to just put down a mud crack to restore the barrenness for the sake of these ostriches while generating a biodiversity, even though That's a thing we already have. We have a sagebrush, right? Or did I destroy the only... No, we did. We have a sagebrush, yeah. So is there anything else that generates biodiversity and... No. Nothing else? Nothing else that generates biodiversity and barrenness simultaneously. We should put down a sunstone somewhere. And I guess this spot was a sunstone before. That is an awful lot of biodiversity right there. Even if it isn't a barren slot. You know what? Yeah, let me do that. Let's turn that back into a sunstone. That's gonna break her 8 animals, though. Well, that was gonna be true if it was a mud crack, too. She's just gonna need more territory, I think. We're gonna have to apply a booster for that as well. So actually, a thing that might be good for us to do with that first expander is to put it down right here. Because I think I can get them both to grow naturally, probably. Yes, I think we can probably get them both to grow naturally, and then we can use the expander to boost his territory after that. Plus, yeah, I guess there is that. That's a very funny consequence of using the expander. Alright, so we want to create a dysprosium somewhere, and we want to also place out some other things. I guess this sun salt could be a basalt, couldn't it? With a sunstone. And that gives us the barrenness for these two, which they will appreciate. And then we can build a sunstone over here. I think I am getting a little nervous about our remaining eon, and maybe we don't. I'm wondering if it makes sense to put down... Well, we could put down an iron. If it makes sense to put down legacy stuff, right? I guess it probably does. And in the end, we're going to want this to be a sunstone, and we're going to want it to be adjacent to a plant. And that plant is probably just going to be a sagebrush. So the plant can go over here. So the upgraded tiles can be for a sunstone and a dysprosium. Which we will have enough biodiversity to actually make once we do that. Okay, so yeah, the question is just like what provides us the best science and threat yields in these tiles, and the iron is definitely one of those things. And then... full metal's almost good. Full metal's almost right. Here's the thing, the iron goes here. And the enargite goes there. That fucking things up is what's happening. The total war, push the poet to attack the sage for more power. Go to it, buddy, you get him. That's not gonna work, right? Actually, it doesn't matter. We don't care whether it works or not. Alright, so now we legicize these. We come over here and drop a sagebrush to this side. We get a food booster, which is unfortunate because that's not what these slots are getting used for. You don't want to be adjacent to a plant, which is like whatever. This can kind of just... it doesn't matter where this goes. This will give us enough biodiversity to place the dysprosium. And the dysprosium will have some pretty fucking solid yields. Okay, now I need to push you to expansion. The big problem we're having right now is that we have an open slot within the borders, and we really should fix that. But unfortunately, I just don't have a good thing to put here. The good news is putting something down is cheap. You short an animal? You are short an animal. Nothing provides biodiversity except a bearded dragon would. We don't have a bearded dragon. Obviously, it feels like a terrible use of the slot. But, well, and we're never going to make use of biodiversity ever again, right? So probably it should just be an animal that has Baron. And the cat is the largest amount of total resources because of the predator boost. So I think that should be enough to create, yes, border expansion. That's going to send them out there. And is that going to get them to 35 technology? Seems a little unlikely. They are over 100 prosperity. And they are over 50 military strength. So, wow, poking 6 tech. My dude. If only that were the problem I was having. Okay, so let's see how much that adds up to. Yeah, it's not really going to be that much of an improvement, honestly. Gets us to 28. Yeah, once we get to 35, you're already good on the 2-star requirement. And the Poet City is way over 100 prosperity, so if we can get them to the military thing, they also, like, will smash the 2-star instantly. And then I don't actually think, despite the fact that we're very low on Eon, I don't think we're going to have any problem hitting 600 total global prosperity at all. So this gains huge payout when we gain distinct element biotica. I have to imagine we have 1 copy of each element. Well, you know, I don't see any redstone. But it's in the whole biome. Is there redstone on this side either? There isn't, actually. And that's the only quartz, too. So, okay. A redstone would push us up another 50. We definitely have a mud crack. We have... No, we don't have any Enargite anymore. We did, but we don't now. So if we put Enargite down here, and then we put redstone next to it, that would be another 100 science from this. And each of those, well, the Enargite would also get the plus 50% science from metals. That's only a couple more points, though. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to get this. It's just too much. It's too much. It's too many points of resources in total that have to be generated. And we have a lot of Eon left to buy. But I definitely can't execute my other scheme this way. We bought that expansion charge, but we used it. We got good value out of it. You would love a ton of threat, but there's just not a source of enough threat anywhere. We're certainly never going to be able to play a second dromedary camel, right? Yeah, I think what we learned, it was worth a shot, but what we learned is that this might it's too hard to overcome him being a pacifist. Well, hold on. So what's the difference? We would have 15% more prosperity scaling, or is it 20? What's the value again? It is 25. Okay, so it is 20% more scaling. So he would have 32 more, and we'd be good. We'd be done by now. 21 additional threat. So I would need some kind of source, some kind of huge source of science for you. It's not enough to place some stuff around the edge. You would need... Let's see here. Fruit is 25 science in here. Like, we can get this paper mulberry. Each distinct adjacent bioticum that has a base science yield. So the paper mulberry can be up to 225. Well, we haven't even talked about using our create mountain ability. So we have the ability to add 3 biome slots over top of something, so we can create additional webs of adjacencies, but we don't have, in this biome at least, we don't really have anything that scales the way that tree does, so it's kind of only relevant here. And the fact is, we could create a fairly high scoring paper mulberry if we were to configure things correctly. Feldspar wants to be next to adjacent gold yields. The thing is, if we did a mountain over here, we would get a fair amount of... Like these, the slots that are upgraded, the patches. The slots that are created by the mountain belong to the patches that they're a vertical piece of. So they get the slot level upgrades. So we'd be laying down level 3 slots. At this point, I just want to get one city to where we're going, you know? Let's buy a terraforming charge and create ourselves a mountain. And the question right now that I'm trying to figure out is, does the mountain go here or does it go here? And I think the answer is that we have better science options. Well, better science options that want to be adjacent to plants in the forest, to the point that we just want 3 more forest patches, even though the patch over here would be level 3. I think that's true. Okay, so 3 Eon discount when placing new biotica, which is also handy. So if we reconfigure this a little bit, the feldspar has a base science yield. The ginkgo just wants to be adjacent to 2 other biotica. It doesn't 2 other bioticum types. It doesn't really matter what. Like, what we really want is to put the paper mulberry in one of these middle slots so that it has 6 adjacencies, right? What are you doing for me right now? Basically nothing. You just need to be a critter in your biome, and there is. All you're really doing is just being a barren animal. So if I put the paper mulberry over here, which is where I think makes the most sense, because I don't want to replace the sand cat with something that produces science. ginkgo tree. I'm debating another ginkgo tree too, because obviously, like, the problem with the ginkgo tree is we don't have a lot of legacy biotica stored away. The yield in this slot is pretty low. It's funny that it's also tagged tree extra times. That's not really relevant to what we're doing here, but it is still kind of funny. Okay, we only get that bonus once per distinct plant. So we can slowly build in stuff. I just want to make sure we're maintaining... we have to maintain the ginkgo thing. We still want to have a feldspar. And the feldspar has a science yield. So... I'm a little worried I'm gonna screw up the Temple of Zhenghua here, but I guess it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I no longer care about the wealth from the Temple of Zhenghua, nor the food, frankly. So, yeah, we can just lose animals. It's fine. So if we're okay losing animals, then that changes a lot of things, actually. So we want to get a bunch of science yields. We definitely want you to be near some trees. So let's put you here. You're still getting your animal from this side. So do I have some stuff that has like a decent base science and gold yield? We almost have enough resources to put down a coal here. Each distinct biotica that has a base science yield. Okay. So what do I have that has a base science yield and a base gold yield? It turns out nothing. Yeah, it turns out the answer to that question is actually nothing, which is a real shame. Because I'm trying to create this situation for Glassmaker with the feldspar here. I think what it's going to end up having to be is that the feldspar goes on this side. Well, that slot's not even adjacent. The feldspar goes here. How do I make this work? I think I'm gonna have to upgrade this area. Yeah, I think so. So we'll put down for the moment an iron. Get that abundant bonus, get some threat in the dirt. And then, like, this stoat is actually very bad. So we replace the stoat with, like, tin. Throw an upgrade over top of this. Okay. Then the feldspar goes here because we can place gold generating stuff outside of the Tree of Knowledge area. If we put down one more thing that we don't yet have a copy of, then we can also build some coal, which will be fantastic. So I think we actually don't have tin in the biome anymore. No, we totally don't. So putting down some tin is, like, fine. Antimony's actually really good too. But it eats biodiversity. It's not bad, but it doesn't solve problems. We had our ginkgo already. This thing doesn't need... It does need distinct bioticum. Okay, so we have to keep building different stuff around it. So we are going to build some tin. In a tier 3 slot. Amazing. Sand Oasis has developed a powerful weapon. But Dune Sand City has 2 and is ready to respond. Okay, cool. So we got a building that produces extra tech, which might actually help us squeeze through this. 1 threat and 40 science for each threat in the bioticum within the borders that has the highest threat. So that's not as good in Sand Oasis, but it is still enough science to push us over. Yeah, no, we're good. We're good. Okay. So now we just have to get Sand Oasis up threat-wise, and now we're getting double payout from the bioticum within borders that has the highest threat. So I'm going to stop playing with this, but this is here for us to juice values on later. Okay. Over here. Am I still going to attempt the biome thing? I think we have to, right? Short of... Dromedary camel has 15 threat on it. And the thing is, you can absolutely afford to lose it. Oh, that's a neat trade route. A neat invention. I think actually the answer to this question, the solution here, almost certainly is just move the camel over. We can't generate enough biodiversity to build a second one, but we can remove this one. So we got to replace it with an animal of some kind. It's going to be like a jerboa or something. It doesn't super matter what it is. It should probably be barren. It's a sand grouse. Because the camel will push Sand Oasis over now with the addition of the missile silo. So we just replace that, both get our biodiversity back and remove the biodiversity penalty on placing a camel. Come over here, upgrade somewhere, and it looks like these animals are just nothing. They're just here. I guess that's also true of this stuff. We're getting a little bit of science from that quartz, I suppose. Yeah, we have a sagebrush already. We can just do a kind of a sloppy, crappy upgrade here. Show me booster. All right, pretty happy about booster. Yeah, and then the dromedary camel. There we go. Gets us an awful lot of that, which gets us an awful lot of additional threat. But it's not going to be anywhere near enough, right? For this final goal. Yeah, and our overall prosperity we can push with micros and emblems and stuff, but we can't really produce 100 threat from that kind of stuff. There's lots of ways to boost your output of these 3 stats, and not nearly enough ways to boost threat. We can purchase, if we want to go by Eon, trying to figure out what this would look like. So in particular, what this would look like is boosting the prosperity of this city, right? Because every 4 points of prosperity here is another worldwide threat, in addition to whatever actual threat we add. We could do the rainforest thing here, or the taiga thing here, right? These two biomes don't actually need to be adjacent to each other. It would screw things up a little bit, but yeah, if we're gonna push somebody's value super hard, it may as well be hers because she gets the good conversion. So if we were gonna try to do that, I would need to buy at least one more expansion charge. I would need to buy at least a couple more expansion charges. So let's say is 6 slots going to be enough? Or 6, 8. 8 slots. 8 slots with a mountain over them. Maybe? Maybe. Alright, so let's start spending. Sorry, I'm just trying to, I'm like thinking about. We're also going to have to buy draft charges because we're not generating another city, so we'll never get more drafts. So the way we would spend this down is like have to buy the terraform, have to buy the expansion, have to buy with a lot of tech. Let me start buying with Eon. We got to remember to leave some space for our draft charges, but because we can buy draft charges with any resource. And remember, the first one's 10, the second one will be 20. Also, once we start we can start building stuff up and potentially earn enough wealth, like pretty easily earn enough wealth to get the charge we're missing there, right? Then we buy like some more Eon like this. $35 is enough to get started. Let's see if we can make it work. It's a bit of a strange idea. Oh, the other thing we should really talk about here is that we have the creek natural feature with this giant, which can't overlap with another natural feature, so we can't do a creek in the mountain area, but it creates a flow between two patches and plants it creates a flow in a patch, I believe. Yeah, so it only affects 2 slots total. But the 2 slots in that patch, they get a big bonus to their yields. 50% on all yields, and also they produce extra biodiversity. So this is a thing that we can purchase and just throw down between some high yield plants to just produce a bunch of extra value. It only works on plants. Anyway, sorry. So we're going to create a taiga here. Tiny taiga. Then I think we do probably need to buy at least one more expansion. To make that. And now we have a little space where we can grow some weird shit. So We're actually going to end up with our best threat payout from copper here, I think. Symbioticum is 4 patches away from the closest city. Yeah, we're going to end up with our best payout from copper. Now, it's going to be a little bit harder to generate a lot of ruggedness in this tiny little taiga than it sometimes is. But we can make it work. So I want to buy a couple of draft charges, and what I would like to do is generate enough wealth to buy the first one with wealth. That requires us to produce about 100 gold. What do we have access to? Because I know some of our stuff overlaps. Okay, we can put down a lifestone. Or a sunstone. Adjacent to a set of plant and animal. Okay. If we're going to put down animals, we would like for them to be predators. Because predators do produce additional ruggedness. And we want to stay away from things that provide food yields. Minerals, predators, and when we eventually place the mountain, we'll all produce the good stuff that we need. So you're a predator that doesn't need any food to be functional. You just produce stuff. I don't know where I'm going to want to make the upgrades, obviously. That's a little hard to say, so let's just put you down here. You want to be at least 4 patches away from the city, which I guess actually is here. He does have the loss tag, which increases the distance for that calculation by 1. So actually, this should work because of the loss tag. And then we want to put down a plant of some kind. A non-food producing plant. Gotta start building somewhere. We will not have the resources to... Well, I was about to say we'll not have the resources to put down things and do like proper legacy work here. Like if I want to upgrade this patch to put down the sunstone, that's fine. We'll let that happen. But since legacy biotica... Yeah, it's 5 to put down the thing by itself, or it's 8 to put down the thing with a legacy bioticum under it. I should probably just go ahead and put up the mountain. I was gonna try to hold off on this, but like, we will definitely benefit from having these slots available earlier. I think I'm just going to spend the upgrade charge to mark this up, because I think we got to be really careful with our Eon. So, let's turn this up. Make this a place where we can place a sunstone. We're already at a level of biodiversity and ruggedness output where copper over here is quite strong. Yes, that's 3 threat and also 200 science. So that'll be some additional threat, some additional military strength. And that did get us our first draft charge. And at this point, we can potentially lose wealth, and it won't really affect things too much. And I guess I'll just buy the second draft charge with science right now, and this will let us push this a little bit. Okay, so we have no rerolls. Can you buy rerolls? That's not what I wanted. That's not the shop. You cannot directly buy rerolls. We would have to buy another draft charge. Okay. So, as far as threat goes, not a lot to be had. We can produce a lot of raw resources. And if we're trying to just produce a lot of raw resources, so here's a little bit of threat. I do think we have to take any threat that is available pretty seriously. Because at this point, right, it's 4 points of prosperity makes one threat. And 4 points of prosperity is going to be like a couple hundred points of any other resource. So threat is a very direct gain. We got to take the silver. We got to take the silver because we got to take the sulfur. Okay. We did not get the bear that we were looking for. Yeah, leopard plus tungsten I think is a winner here. Okay. So let us keep placing. We're so out of resources. We're still going to be able to buy more Eon. We're not done purchasing Eon yet. So tungsten, silver, sulfur, sulfur. Words. Also tungsten. The tungsten would like to be next to a predator, which it absolutely can be. So if we put down some tungsten up there, the leopard requires, wow, 9 technology. Good job. Oh, that's cool. The leopard causes all of the trees to gain loss and then measures its distance from the city for its gold. That's kind of neat. If we want to, I'm thinking maybe upgrading this patch now, putting the leopard there and the tungsten there. So if we're going to do that, we should definitely place something on this top spot before we go. And it should be whatever gives us the best yield. Probably it's going to be, well, it is a tier 1 slot, so it's not going to be amazing no matter what it is. Iron's not bad, actually. And iron has that 2 threat on it. Yeah, I think it actually is probably just iron. So that'll go down at a cost of 2 Eon. Or 3 Eon? I thought this was a 3 point... No, it's a 2 point reduction. And then we upgrade over these slots. Okay, sadly no boosters. We don't have any biodiversity anymore. Hold on. So, we're going to put down the tungsten up here. The intent is to get the leopard there, so it will serve as both the animal for the sunstone and the predator for the tungsten. But we're going to have to put down a bunch of other stuff first. What else can we put down that's at these tiers? We definitely want to play a sulfur. Sulfur wants to be adjacent to predators. So we'll put the sulfur here then. We got to find a spot for a plant. And it would be better for it to be a poplar than anything else, right? But we may need to make every kind of thing that we can make in order to get our biodiversity back up. Part of the reason it's better for it to be the poplar is that it produces more biodiversity due to being a higher base level. Okay, so I think at this point we've played all of the non 1-star things that we can. We played all the non 1-star things that don't cost biodiversity. A single peat will give us 2 biodiversity, so that's something we definitely need to consider. We don't have any undergrowth biotica for it to be next to, though, so it actually doesn't... It doesn't get that bonus unless we have something undergrowthy. Now, obviously, we could put down carrots. I don't love the idea of placing a food-producing thing in the biome and bringing down our ruggedness, because I'd love to hit 20 rugged, but we do really need the biodiversity, so I guess it probably has to be. And this, since we're just talking about some tier 1s, we can place them over here on this side. It doesn't matter really what goes here. We could just put one of them there. So that's something. But yeah, we're about to go over the top on Eon here. So we will purchase some more. Then we will place a pretty sad little carrot. Then we will make what appears to be probably our last purchase. Okay. So we have 3 biodiversity, or three Eon to work with here. If I can increase biodiversity in the area by 1, we can finish things by placing this leopard and still not getting anywhere near the thresholds we need. The threat, obviously, the military strength threshold is the only one I really care about. But this is a thing that actually we might be able to solve with a micro. There absolutely are micros that give 1 biodiversity. Oh, well, part of the problem is I didn't put down the plant first. Yeah, I didn't solve this first because I was trying to be fancy. Unfortunately, putting down any animal to fix it would cost everything. But if I put down an animal here, that would only cost 1. It would give us the biodiversity necessary to put a thing down here, which will only cost 1. And then we could fix this and replace it as sulfur. So actually, yeah, let's just do that. So I'll put down, we'll put down the skunk. I was wondering, where did all the biodiversity come from in the first place? But it was the lifestone. So yeah, we do that. Then we place leopard for 1. And then we replace the sulfur because the sulfur is actually quite good here. There we go. Yields. Yields, friend. The poet attacked the sage for even more power. And every time the poet attacks the sage, we gain military strength, right? Because one of them loses and toughens up. And also, we probably gain prosperity because usually the poet wins. And the poet's going to win here, for sure. Are you continuing to gain strength from losing wars? It looks like it. So once again, he's at 200. We would have an extra 40. Yeah. If we had, if these two were just not both pacifists, we'd be done. If just the poet was militaristic and the sage was still a pacifist, we'd be at 244. And you could see how we could massage it if we were that close. If they were both militaristic, we would actually literally be finished. So I think that's the lesson there. I also think some version of this thing is totally doable. I don't think there's any version of this where we can get to where we're going now. The villain might I don't know what all the emblems do. It's possible that some people's emblems give threat. Or military power. I could see the villains' emblems giving military power, and so that might also be a route to approach. But you can see how we could probably from here get to 600 prosperity. What we would not be able to do is generate enough prosperity to be able to buy more Eon. I'd have to gain 55 total population. And there's probably a way to spend the resources down differently. I don't know if I would have been able to get one more Eon charge though. And even if we did get one Eon charge, it wasn't going to close that gap. So I think I'm just going to go ahead. Let's let this war play out. They've earned it. Are your defenders defeated already? Yeah, I guess that's them in the middle of the square. Y'all. Okay, so sadly we do not get a 3-star ending here either, but we're getting to see each of the points. And again, this stuff would be a lot easier if I weren't playing in Horizon draft mode. If we were allowed to just draft more biotica types to our various things. 8 more technology. Damn. Can we see what is your total technology loss from? Okay, so in total you've lost 8 tech. And in that time, we've gained an additional 24. Yeah, we gained 32 total technology from fighting you. So, actually, military conflict is extremely powerful way of generating resources for total prosperity purposes, which is, as far as the game design choices go, that's a little fucked, in my opinion, but nobody asked me. Anyway, I think that's where we're going to call it for today. Thank you all so much for watching. When you come back next time... Wait, no, that's not... What am I doing? I'm pressing the button because I'm like, okay, we're done. But, we're done with the scenario. Uh-oh. Well, that's not very good. I kind of thought that there weren't going to be launches because we didn't get to the 3-star ending. But, apparently... That's a... Boy, what a thing to depict in a game with this, playful, cheery, childish tone. I know they're not trying to be, serious about it at all. They're trying to take the edges off of it, and the game does not... It doesn't necessarily only depict childish... I just don't think the cartoony nukes falling is a... Woof. I don't know about that one, y'all. I think that's an error. That's an error on their part. Fully unforced. Okay. Yeah, we've unlocked all the stuff. This is going to unlock the last profile level for the expansion, though, giving us the final spirit as a leader and the final age. And that's what we're doing next time. So it was important to see that because we need to know what the hell we're doing. What's going on? The jerk. Truly a jerk that loves gold, loves starting fights. All toxic and predator biotica gain 4 gold for each dislike on the planet. Biotica that are both toxic and predator double this bonus. For each dislike on the planet? I wonder... I haven't been paying close enough attention. How many dislikes are being generated per village? Because it's like you have each person comes down disliking certain tags, and then they can add disliking giants and disliking each other, right? So you'd want people that you don't think are going to get along as you're making your choices, and you also want to try very hard to let people's requests get old and let them get mad about it. That's going to be a little tricky because you have to spend the Eon eventually. And then on top of that, this is one that really it scales real hard with the number of towns that you have, the number of cities. So you'd want to push to 5 people for sure by the end. Yeah, that's interesting. Also, what is our other era? So we wanted to give this one more crack for 3-star. This probably is a really good fit actually for the thing he's doing there. And the final era requires at least 4 biomes with at least 6 biodiversity in them, and at least 3 cities by the end of the era, by the end of the medieval era, to choose this. So we're going to want to lay down the biomes a little bit differently than I have been, a little bit differently than I often do. That's interesting. Okay. Pushing more biomes early is going to reduce the pain of the horizon draft, because it's going to mean, we're already splitting up the space more. I'm interested to see how this works out. So that's going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. When you come back next time, we are on our way to... I didn't even look at the name of the age. What is that? Well, yeah, right. We don't get to know it. We are on our way to the unknown, to the future of humanity, through the valley of deep villainy. And if that ain't just the way things are with humans lately. So come back next time for that, and we'll see you then.